Hello everyone, and welcome back to Pale Shadows. I'm your storyteller, and I'm here to guide you through tonight's tale. I know many of you come here to relax, unwind, and maybe even drift off to sleep. So before we begin, take a moment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, where are you listening from, and what time of night is it for you? Now find a comfortable spot, let the world slow down around you, and allow the story to carry you into the calm. I've been married to Lily for 2 years now. 2 years of quiet mornings, steaming cups of coffee, and her laughter filling every corner of this little house. From the outside, everything about us looks perfect. And maybe most days, it feels perfect too. She cooks every meal. She hums while she works. She kisses me on the cheek whenever I come home late. Never once asking questions about where I've been, but perfection has a shadow for us. That shadow lives behind a single door. The basement. Flashback, first night. In the house, we had just moved in. Boxes everywhere, excitement spilling out of us like wine from a cracked glass. That night, she led me from room to room, showing me where everything would go. When we reached the hallway near the kitchen, she paused. Her hand touched the knob of a door at the far end. "James," she said softly. "This one. Don't open it." Her tone wasn't playful. It wasn't casual. It carried something fragile. Fear, maybe? I laughed then, trying to break the tension. "What, is that where you hide the skeletons of old boyfriends?" She smiled, but only with her lips. Her eyes didn't join in. "It's old," she said. "Unsafe. The stairs are weak." "Promise me you won't go down there." I remember the way her fingers trembled just slightly on my arm. I promised. And back then, I meant it. Interior, present day, kitchen. I'm drying plates while she stirs soup at the stove. Steam curls upward, smelling of rosemary and garlic, but promises age like bread. They dry out. They crumble. Every day, I pass that door. Every day, it stares at me like an unblinking eye, and every day, Lily's warning whispers back into my ear. Unsafe. Old, don't open it. Except, she never said why. My thoughts? Voiceover style, I know basements. They're boring, storage, dust. But if that's all it was, why the fear in her voice? Why does she flinch whenever I linger in that hallway too long? Interior, bedroom, night. Lily sleeps peacefully, her hair spread across the pillow like a dark halo. I sit awake, staring at the ceiling. When you love someone, you trust them, and I do. God, I do, but trust can be a fragile thing, especially when curiosity keeps gnawing at your bones. I tell myself, it's nothing, forget it. But then I dream of standing in front of that basement door, reaching for the knob, hearing faint noises below, the scrape of wood, a breath that doesn't belong. I wake up sweating, my hand stretched out in the dark, like I was really there. A quiet afternoon. One rainy Saturday, Lily went to the market. I stayed behind, pretending to read, but the book never turned a page. Instead, my ears tracked every sound in the house, waiting for silence to settle like dust. When it finally did, I found myself in the hallway. There it was. The basement door. Its paint was chipped. The knob cold to the touch. I pressed my ear against it. Nothing, but the nothing felt too thick. Like it was hiding something just beneath. I pulled back. My chest tightened. "Don't be stupid," I whispered to myself. "You promised her." Still, my hand lingered on the knob until the sound of Lily's car in the driveway broke the spell. I leapt back like a guilty man. Interior, dinner table, evening. We eat in silence for a while, forks clicking against plates. "You're quiet tonight," she said, looking at me. "Just tired," I lied. Her smile was soft, understanding, but in her eyes, there was a flicker, like she already knew where my thoughts had wandered. The strain days passed. My curiosity only grew. Sometimes I'd catch Lily glancing toward the basement, as if checking to see if it was still locked. Other times, she'd hum louder when I walked through the hallway, like she was trying to distract me from the door. I started wondering things I shouldn't. Does she keep something down there? Something she doesn't want me to see? The thought ate at me, little by little. Interior, bathroom mirror, night. I look at myself, whispering, "What if it's nothing? What if it's everything?"
I splash water on my face. "You're her husband."
"Don't you deserve to know?" But another voice answers inside me, "You promised. And if you break it, maybe you'll lose more than just her trust." The temptation. The next week, while she was hanging laundry outside, I stood in front of the basement door again. This time, I turned the knob. It resisted, locked. Relief and disappointment tangled inside me. She'd locked it. She knew I'd be tempted, which meant there was something to protect. Interior, living room, later. Lily enters with folded clothes. She pauses when she sees me sitting too close to the hallway. "You didn't go in, did you?" Her voice was calm, but her knuckles were white around the basket. I swallowed hard. "No, of course not." She studied me for a long time, then nodded. "Good." Just that one word. But it felt heavier than stone, my breaking point. 2 nights later, I woke up to a sound. Not rain, not wind, a muffled thud from the basement. I froze, heart hammering. Lily stirred beside me, but didn't wake. I sat there in the dark, listening.
Another thud.
Then silence. Sleep never came back to me that night. Interior, kitchen, morning. Lily sets breakfast down, cheerful as always. Pancakes, eggs, orange juice. Like nothing happened. But her cheer only made the night before feel more sinister. Had she heard it too? Was she pretending it wasn't real? I wanted to ask, but the words choked me. Instead, I smiled back, ate my breakfast, and let her laughter wash over me like a disguise. Confession to myself, I can't keep this up. Every day, the house feels heavier, the walls closing in around that one forbidden door. I love her. God knows I love her. But love isn't enough to kill curiosity, and curiosity has teeth. Interior, living room, night. I sit with a journal in hand, writing, whispering my thoughts aloud like a confession. If she truly trusts me, why hide it? If she truly loves me, why lock me out? Maybe the perfect life isn't real. Maybe perfection always costs something, and maybe that cost is buried right beneath our feet. I'm awake without knowing why. Some nights the ceiling is a map.
I trace nothing with my eyes and call it peace.
But not tonight. Tonight, the silence inside the room is heavier than the quiet outside it. Then it comes. A knock. Beat. From under the floor. Not the pipes. Not the contraction of wood in cold.
This has intention.
The sound is dull and close, like a knuckle tapping the other side of a table. Knock. A pause. Then a soft dragging sound, as if something heavy is being pulled across a rug.
Not fast, not impatient.
Patient things scare me the most. I push myself up on my elbows. The sheet licks my chest with cool air.
Lily doesn't move.
Her breath is long and even, a tide that keeps coming and going, unafraid. Did you hear that?
I whisper. She doesn't answer.
Her breath continues, deep, regular. If she's pretending, she's perfect at it. If she isn't, then I'm alone with whatever is below us. The dragging stops. My heartbeat makes its own noise then. A bass drum in a small room. I hold still long enough for doubt to suggest other explanations. The water heater settling, the neighbor's cat, the refrigerator's distant shudder carrying through joists like a rumor. Another knock, my scalp tightens. There is no mistaking it now.
It's not machinery.
It's not accident. It's someone, or something, announcing itself. I slide a foot out of bed and touch the floor. The wood is cool, a little damp with the sweat of old houses.
I hate that I know where each board complains. I've walked this path enough. I've mapped the creeks like they're landmines.
I lift my weight precisely and step toward the door. Behind me, Lily turns once in sleep, a small sound in her throat, then stills. The clock becomes louder for noticing it. 2:14, interior, tin hallway, continuous. The house is a long throat-swallowing moonlight. The basement door waits at the end, pale paint, chipped like scabs. I stand at the bedroom threshold and listen. The house listens back. The knock doesn't repeat. The dragging doesn't come. But there is a pressure beneath my feet, a feeling like sound without sound, the sense of presence. I try to bargain with myself.
If it doesn't happen again, I'll go back to bed. If it does, I'll, what, call someone?
Wake Lily, break my promise?
I wait nothing. I move anyway. The hallway is the exact length of a question you don't want answered.
At its end, the basement door, old knob dull with the fingerprint of time. I stop 3 paces short, like I've approached an animal that might spook. Hello?
I say stupidly.
I say it soft, as if courtesy could save me. Silence. Then exactly when I begin to inhale, knock. I flinch, and the doorknob rattles lightly in the draft from my movement. The knock isn't at the door. It's beneath it. Beneath the floor under my feet, as if the basement ceiling is reaching up with its knuckles. I lower myself to kneel. The boards are cold enough to run up my shins. I put my ear to the wood. It smells like dust and old soap. For a second, I imagine I can hear the house's heartbeat. That's only my own, banging at my skull. Something on the other side drags again.
A long, soft scrape.
Not nails. Not metal. Cloth? A rope? My throat dries. This is the sound of weight being moved. I fling my gaze back toward the bedroom.
I could wake Lily. We could both be sane or both be foolish. I see only the door cracked open and darkness beyond, her shape a hill in the bed. I whisper her name, Lily.
As if it could choose which one to carry it. Fear or affection? No answer. Okay, I tell myself. My voice in this narrow hall sounds both bigger and weaker than I want it to. Okay, I set my palm flat on the floor. The wood is still.
No vibration.
Sound comes. It never leaves fingerprints. Knock again, I whisper. Beat. I feel stupid asking a sound for a favor.
Then it obliges. Knock. I jerk back, bumping my spine on the wall.
The paint there flakes under my palm. I swallow, stand, and back away 2 steps until the angle of being a coward feels survivable. I'm about to return to bed, to pretend morning will erase this. When another noise rises, faint and dry, a breath?
No, not breathing.
Whispering? Not words. The vague hush of air passing around something. I catch myself leaning. A body leans when the mind says run. I've always hated that about me. I make a choice that isn't brave, only inevitable. I reach for the knob. It doesn't turn.
Of course it doesn't. It's locked.
Even the metal is colder here, as if it knows the basement is a well. Right, I mouth. Right. I press my forehead to the door and listen through the seam. The sound is not there, not at my ear.
It's under me.
The house is a drum.
Everything below is beating on it. Behind me, a floorboard in the bedroom clicks. I turn.
In the doorway, Lily stands, hair spilling over one shoulder, a nightshirt the color of milk. She looks small because she's far, not because she is. James? She says softly, as if unwilling to press a hard consonant into the night. I straighten too fast.
I thought I heard. Her eyes flick to the basement door, then back to me. Come to bed, she says.
It's not a rebuke.
It's not pleading.
It's the tone you'd use with a child who woke from a bad dream and came to your room. It's gentle and heavy at once. I heard knocking, I say, because the truth is all I have left when I'm frightened. She hesitates. That hesitation is a bell in my brain. Old house, she says at last, almost the exact syllable she used when we moved in.
Pipes! Settling! It was under the floor, I say.
Here. I tap my bare heel on the board. She flinches. Subtle. A flick of fear across her face and then gone like a guilty bird. I see it. She knows I see it. She smiles anyway.
Please, she says.
It's cold.
Come back. She doesn't come closer.
She doesn't try to shepherd me like a stubborn animal. She just waits. I go because love is a kind of gravity and so is exhaustion. Interior, bedroom, minutes later. We lie on our backs. The clock reads 2:23. Her hand finds mine under the sheet. She's warm.
I want to believe she's only warm. I want to believe warmth equals safety.
I close my eyes and tell myself I'm being dramatic, that drama is a story you write when you can't control your facts. Did you really not hear it?
I ask into the ceiling. I was asleep, she says. I sleep deeply. Her thumb strokes my knuckle.
A small forgiveness for a sin I haven't confessed. I turn my head to look at her. In the dim light, her eyes are open, reflecting the little red of the clock. She looks calm but not empty.
There's something like calculation there. Not cruel, not cold, protective. Of me, of herself, of the rule.
I won't open it, I say, as if saying it again will make it true forever. She nods. Thank you. For a while there is nothing but breathing and the sound of rain's old cousin. Wind through old trees. Somewhere a branch creaks.
I drift close to sleep, then hit something inside myself and bounce back up. I choose a test that won't feel like betrayal. Will you hold on a second? I say. She doesn't let go of my hand. I'm holding. No, I mean...
I'll be right back. She lets go, interior, kitchen. Moments later, I pad on tile to the drawer with the junk everyone keeps. Rubber bands, expired coupons, a corkscrew that worked once, a roll of chalk Lily uses to mark the hems of pants she fixes for me. I take the chalk. I take a glass. If I can't open the door, I can at least mark what I hear and where I hear it. That's how you turn superstition into a map. Back in the hallway, I crouch and draw a faint X where I heard the last knock. I set the glass upside down on the floor and put my ear against the bottom, a child's stethoscope. Lily stands in the bedroom doorway again, saying nothing. That silence isn't judgment. It's permission of a kind she doesn't want to give aloud. I listen. Nothing. Come on, I whisper to Wood. Do your trick. For a long time, nothing. Then a flutter of something like cloth, shifting. Then, knock. It's softer now, as if the thing below is tired of insisting. But the glass vibrates a little under my ear, a tiny tremble like a heartbeat in a bird's throat.
I lift the glass and stare at it, as if it might show me an image. In the quiet, Lily says, "James." I look at her. "Please," she says again.
There is more in the word this time. Fatigue, dread, love.
I don't know in what proportions.
Don't talk to it. The chalk feels heavier in my hand.
To it, I ask.
The pronoun is a knife slipped between letters.
I hadn't said it.
She had. Her mouth tightens. Come to bed, she says. And this time, the please is a thing she swallows. I go. Interior, bedroom. Later. The clock says 2:58. Her breath has finally changed. Sleep's true rhythm. My eyes burn like I've cried, though I haven't. I lie there and make promises no one asked for. I will not open the door. I will not leave the house at night to fetch a hammer and pride. I will not do an experiment that turns my marriage into a lab. I sleep and dream the chalk marks glow faintly through the floor, like constellations under the skin of a living thing. Morning. Kitchen. The house is smaller by daylight, its ghosts worse behaved. Lily flips pancakes, humming. The radio mutters the weather with the blunt cheer only weather can have. Rough night, she says, not turning. The question floats like flour in the air. It doesn't settle on anything unless I breathe wrong. I thought so, I say. Might have been nothing. She plates 2 golden circles like warm coins. I'm sure it was nothing, she says carefully, as though assembling a sentence where no word touches another. We eat. We pretend syrup is a solution. I clear my plate and hang back while she rinses. Her hair is twisted up, neck vulnerable. A person could put their secrets in that curve and no one would find them. Did the basement ever? I begin, then switch tracks. Do you ever hear anything down there? The heater, storage shifting? She puts the plate down on the rack, water ticking from its rim. Sometimes, she says, like someone choosing the mildest truth from a shelf full of worse ones.
Old houses make old noises, right, I say?
Right. I wipe my hands on a towel and realize I'm gripping it too hard. I make my voice gentle. Lily, I say, if there's something I should know, she turns. The look on her face makes me feel like a trespasser in my own mouth. She isn't angry.
She's afraid, not of me. Of the conversation. I'm asking you for one thing, she says.
One small thing. Don't open that door. I haven't, I say. And don't try. I think of chalk X's under our feet like star charts.
I'm not trying to. Her hand reaches and lands on my forearm. Warm, not shaking.
The tremble I heard in her voice the first night we moved in feels farther away now, or maybe buried under practice. James, she says quietly.
Please? The word wraps around me until I stop fighting it.
Okay. She nods once and goes back to the sink. We're out of salt, she says after a moment, as if changing the subject is a life raft. I'll pick some up. Salt?
I ask. For the roast tonight. A shrug.
And it helps with damp in the pantry. I imagine a line of salt across the crack at the bottom of the basement door, like a storybook defense. I say nothing. Late afternoon, living room. Rain returns, a rehearsal of last night.
I sit with a book I don't read.
The house ticks and sighs. Lily moves from room to room, making small order out of small chaos. At 5, she says she needs the market.
I offer to go.
She says she likes the drive, even this short one, even in the rain.
I'll be quick, she assures.
She always is. When the door closes behind her, the house inhales and holds it. I tell myself I will not go to the hallway. My legs then carry me there like they know me better than I do. I stop 3 paces short again, as if those steps are mine and the rest belongs to someone else. The chalk X's are intact, pale scars on the wood. I crouch, put the glass to the floor and listen. No sound, no knock. The kind of silence that feels full. Okay, I say, okay. The word has become a habit, a spell against either action or fear. I think I will go back to the couch and put on music loud enough to reset my brain.
I stand, I turn.
And then from under the floor, a single knock. Not loud, not timid. A door answered, a question acknowledged. I pivot back so fast the world tilts. Hello?
I ask before I can stop myself. Nothing. I hear a new sound then, very faint.
Very far or very small, like fingernails trailing over fabric, like someone turning body weight slowly on a rough sheet. I can't open it, I say, my voice low and cracked. I promised her. The house lets that sentence sink into it. A breath moves faintly through the crack under the door. I don't mean the air shifts because of pressure in the house.
I don't mean physics. I feel the presence of warmth living on the other side.
For an instant, it is the sweetest, saddest sensation. You aren't alone. Then it's terrifying. You aren't alone. I kneel and put my mouth close to the seam, even though it feels like kissing a grave.
Who are you? I whisper. The answer is a sound, like a word, dragged through water. Not language, not language.
My skin maps itself with cold. I realize what I'm doing and pull back as if burned. I think of Lily saying, "Don't talk to it. It." The pronoun comes back with a small metallic taste. She said it like a person who learned the correct word by losing the wrong ones. I push myself up.
My knees ache.
Fear is heavy to kneel with. I fetch my phone from the coffee table and return. Voice memos. Title it with my thumb. Basement 5:12 p.m. I press record and hold the phone near the crack. The little red line jumps at ambient static, then quiets. Then there, a faint drag. Then the line spikes with a knock. I whisper a marker. Knock 1. My voice in the tiny mic sounds like it belongs to a stranger who expects not to be believed. Knock 2 comes after a long pause, like reply more than repetition. The red line catches it. My hand shakes. A car pulls into the driveway. The phone's little clock reads 5:16. Rain freckles the windows harder. The door opens. Lily's voice in the front room. James?
I stop recording.
I stand too quickly and sway. In here, I call, and I am ashamed of how normal I make it sound. She comes down the hall with a small paper bag, hair wet at the edges, cheeks pinked by March weather. Her eyes go at once to my hand with the phone, then to the floor by the door, then to my face. Hey, I say, which is a word that always means too much and not enough. She gently sets the bag on the side table. I see the top of a salt canister, blue label, familiar like an old superstition. She draws a breath that sounds like deciding to hurt a little. James, she says, if you love me,
if you want to stay,
you can never open this door. It isn't a rule now. It's a plea dressed like a command. The difference is wait. I nod without nodding. Every muscle makes its own mind.
Okay, I say.
The spell again. She reaches into the bag, pulls out the salt, and holds it without looking at it. Sometimes, she says, as if to the air, the house keeps more than we do. I don't know what to do with that sentence, so I keep it. We make dinner. We talk about the neighbor's new fence, about the recipe she wants to try next week, about nothing that can bruise. We do married things that make straight lines out of twisted paths. When we go to bed, I put my head on the pillow and listen to the dark. It listens back. I wait for the knock. It doesn't come at 2:13. It doesn't come at 2:23, at 2:38. Something brushes lightly against the underside of the bed frame. A whisper of contact, not sound. Lily shifts in sleep, nestles closer, throws one leg over mine,
anchors me with a human weight that belongs to this side of the floor. I breathe with her,
matching her rhythm as if synchronization were armor. Did you hear that? I whisper again, not expecting any answer. This time she murmurs something that might be my name, might be please, might be nothing at all. Then she is quiet again, the kind of quiet people pay for in cities. The kind that has an edge to it, like silence trying not to cut you. I think of the chalk X under the hallway boards and the voice memo in my phone. I think of the word it and the way salt is sometimes a boundary in stories. I think of the knock that answered me, not asked me. I think I will not open the door. Then I add, because truth is a shape we redraw at every hour. Not yet. I don't decide to come here. My feet do. They turn left at the kitchen when my head says right. And then I'm in the long grey tunnel of the hallway, with the door at the end, like an answer I've been pretending isn't a question. I lay my hand on the knob. It's cold. The indifferent cold of brass that doesn't care who you are. The metal has a polished dip where hands have turned it for years. Owners before us, lives before ours. I turn it gently just to feel the way it refuses. The lock holds. There's a little play, an old door's tired jingle of parts, but the latch stays bit into the jamb like a dog with a bone. I take my hand away and press my palm flat to the door, as if I might feel a heartbeat through paint. The wood is cool and blank. Daylight makes mysteries look silly.
I almost managed to smile at myself. Almost, James.
Lily calls from the kitchen. Do you want toast? I swallow and step back.
I'm coming, I say.
My voice bounces off the hallway and returns thinner. I pocket the echo and go to her. Interior, kitchen.
Kettle steaming.
Radio muttering news no one really hears. Lily stands at the counter cutting butter into a small blue dish. She looks up. Her hair is in a loose knot, a pencil stabbed through it, a little domestic crown. You okay? Yeah, I reach for the mugs. Just woke up early. Couldn't sleep? Not much. She nods like she already knew. I wonder if she counted my turning in the dark, like you count lightning, waiting for thunder. I pour coffee. The smell buys us a few minutes of being normal. We stand like people on a train platform who won't acknowledge they're going different directions. When she sets jam and toast on the table, I sit. We eat. The radio talks about rain on Wednesday like it's a party we're all invited to. The knife makes a cheerful noise against the plate.
The cheer feels used. I don't plan my question.
It arrives like the next breath. Do we have anything in the basement? Her hand pauses mid-reach, one heartbeat, then continues, smooth. She smiles without showing teeth. Just all junk? She spreads jam. The stairs are broken.
That's why I said never to open it. She looks up with a softness she must practice in mirrors. Unsafe, unsafe.
The word sits between us like a folded note I'm not allowed to read. What kind of junk? I ask, keeping my tone curious, not prosecutorial.
Paint cans, luggage, some boxes.
Maybe tools.
I don't remember. A small shrug, a bigger lie.
It was already like that when we bought the place. She sips coffee. I should have asked the previous owner to fix it, but it didn't seem urgent. The smile again. We don't need a basement. I nod. My head does the nodding. My chest does the keeping. Right. She reaches across and touches my wrist, a tether thrown and caught.
Thanks for trusting me. Trusting.
The word is a rope. It can pull you in. It can also tie your wrists. I cover her hand with mine. It's warm. The warmth makes the doubt worse. Interior, afternoon, garage. The door is up, grey light. Dust motes stage a ballet no one paid to see. I rummage a red toolbox we inherited with the house. Bent screwdriver, adjustable wrench, a tape measure with a crack down the clear plastic face. I tell myself I came for batteries.
I came for the truth.
I find both. A blister pack of ALAs under a tangle of nylon twine, and at the bottom of the box, an old brass key ring with no keys, only a single broken ring and a memory of purpose. I hold the ring.
It's not helpful, but it feels like a clue.
I pocket it anyway because I am a child who collects talismans against fear. The toolbox coughs up a headlamp. The elastic is tired. I put it around my neck like a priest puts on a stole and then hate that I thought of it that way. I don't go to the basement door. Not yet. I take the batteries to the kitchen drawer where they live among rubber bands and shopping lists, change the dead ones in the hall thermostat, put the headlamp back on its hook. I am excellent at errands that pretend to be something else. Interior, late afternoon, living room. Rain starts as if on cue. The house tightens when it rains, like it's putting its secrets closer to its heart. Lily reads on the couch. I sit at the window and watch the glass bead into 1,000 trembling worlds. My phone waits in my pocket with last night's memo.
I haven't listened back yet.
I'm afraid I'll hear nothing and be crazy, or hear something and be sane in a way I can't afford. I take the phone out and open the voice memo app. The waveform is a thin river. I press play and hold it close. At first, only static. House hush, my breath.
Then faint the drag.
Then, clear as if performed for a microphone, knock. A second later, another, knock. Then the long velvet scrape that made my stomach go hollow. The hair on my forearms stands. I don't realize Lily is watching me until she says, "What's that?" "Work note," I lie too quickly. "Work note," she repeats, like trying an unfamiliar flavor. She sets her book down. "James," I meet her eyes. "Please delete it," she says. And the please is not a weapon. It's a white flag made from a shirt you still need.
Don't keep records. She can't find the noun that won't condemn us. Evidence?
Proof? Relics?
It will make it worse. What will? I ask gently. She shakes her head.
The pencil in her hair wobbles.
We said we'd have one rule. We did. I look at the phone screen, glowing like guilt. I haven't broken it. Please, she says again. I press my thumb to the red trash icon.
The memo wobbles, then disappears like a good memory in a bad year. The emptiness it leaves isn't relief, thank you, she whispers. We go back to our books. Neither of us reads. Interior, evening, kitchen. Chopping board, oil in a pan, the small thunder of onions hitting heat. Lily moves in the practiced geometry of dinner. I become sous chef, silent. "Can you get the salt?" she asks without looking. I reach into the pantry. The blue cylinder is there on the shelf. The metal top dented from some old fall, the spout clean. I pass it to her. She pinches and shakes. A few white grains fall on the counter. She brushes them into her palm and flicks them into the sink, like breadcrumbs to a river. I watch the habit and catalogue it.
I catalogue everything now.
I wish I didn't. When she turns away to fetch time from the window, I look at the salt again, at the seam under the basement door. I can see from here if I lean. At the way the house seems to hold its breath when she says please. Bottles go out tonight, I say.
Because I need a normal sentence. Right, she smiles over her shoulder.
I'll take them out after we eat. After dinner, we wash plates together, the marriage waltz. She puts the recycling in a blue tub by the back door.
Then she gets her coat.
The rain is fine and silver. She's gone 3 minutes, maybe 4. I stand at the sink, drying the same glass twice and thinking about keys. When she comes back in, cheeks damp, she glances at my hands, at the hallway, back at my hands. "All done," she says. Her voice makes a home of those 2 words, then quickly locks the door. Interior, night, bedroom. The clock reads 1:57. I've been pretending to sleep for an hour. The house is full of old conversations, wood with wood, wind with Eve, the quiet tick of cooling things.
Then there it is. Knock, I don't move. I can hear my blood in my neck. I nearly choke on it. Knock, the same spacing as before, as if it knows what works. Drag a long one tonight.
Something taking its time under us, across whatever floor is below, the sound of friction, the sound of weight. Not violent, patient. Beside me, Lily breathes deep and even.
I whisper, "Did you hear that?" I don't expect an answer. I don't get one. I slide out of bed.
My feet find the cold.
I know the creek map well enough to step around the worst of it.
I ghost along the wall and into the hallway where the dark is thicker by a shade. The basement door waits. The chalk X I drew last night is faint in the gloom like an old scar. I crouch and press my ear to the board above it. The wood kisses my skin coolly, knock, right under me.
My teeth ache. I can't open it, I whisper, as if the floor needs reminding, as if I do. I promised. Silence takes a long breath. Then to my left, 2 boards over, something drags again, as if repositioning under me to be closer. I stand so quickly my head swims. I reach for the knob, the body's treason, and stop my hand on the air. I hold it there, an inch from brass, as if measuring the distance between loyalty and another kind of relief. Behind me, the bedroom doorway frames Lily. She's awake this time, eyes wide, but not surprised. She must move very quietly when she wants to, James, she says. A soft, careful chord. I'm not opening it, I say. My hand hovers like a moth that can't decide if fire is doctrine or rumor. She studies me. She's not angry. She's something worse.
worried in the way you are when you know how the story ends, and you're still hoping it can be edited. Come back to bed, she says.
I stop because I don't know the noun. Proof? Permission? Peace? You need to sleep, she says.
If you talk to it, it talks back. There's no drama in it.
Only weather? Impersonal? True? I start.
Then close my mouth because I did last night. And the night heard me. We hold there, the three of us, me, Lily, and the thing under the floor that knows the timing of our breaths. I drop my hand. I go to her. When I pass, I feel the slightest current of cold on my shins, like air rising from a well. I don't look down because looking makes thoughts into architecture. Back in bed, she draws me close, and the closeness is not just affection. It's strategy. Her hand on my chest tells my heart I'm accounted for. The house listens, and after a while the knocks stop like a show cancelled for bad weather. I drift, then drop, then dream. Dream, a staircase without steps, a door without a knob, my name written in salt across a floor.
Every grain a tiny eye. I wake with my mouth dry.
The clock says 3:41, interior, morning on kitchen, light thinner than usual, as if the day has doubts. We move around each other carefully. Coffee, toast, silence. At the sink, she says, I can ask someone to come look at the stairs. Someone?
I echo, a handyman. She doesn't meet my eyes.
So I can show you, I blink.
Show me? If it's safe? She lifts her chin.
So you'll stop wondering. The offer is a bandage I didn't expect. Okay, I say, too quickly. Then, thank you, she nods once. The nod has an afterward I can't read. Interior, noon, hall closet. I stand with the door open, inventorying coats and the metal tin on the top shelf where we keep documents. It was simple at first. Check if we own a basement key. It turns into a ritual. Pull down the tin, place it on the hall table. Open it carefully as if paper can explode. Inside, the marriage, the deed, a warranty, inspection paperwork with the inspector's name in a spidery hand, a packet of appliance manuals. No keys. No note that says, do not in another person's scrawl. I read the inspection line about basement stairs compromised.
Access restricted. I didn't remember this sentence. Or I remember not remembering.
There's a penciled circle around restricted, not mine.
Lily's hand?
My chest does that hollow thing again. I put the papers away before the hollow starts echoing. Exterior, early afternoon, front porch. The air smells of wet bark.
I call the inspector's number.
It rings into oblivion.
New number, maybe. New life. I search the name.
The signal stutters. The search returns nothing useful. I pocket the phone and stand with hands on the rail, a man rehearsing explanations. When I turn back, Lily is in the doorway watching me.
Everything okay? Yeah, I say. He...
Retired, I guess. The sentence is true enough to pass, she nods. Do you work later? I was thinking of taking the afternoon. I don't add, to stay home and see what knocks in daylight. Okay, she says. I'll start the laundry. Interior, afternoon, laundry room. The hum of the machine is the sound of ordinary life pulverizing memory into lint. Lily sorts. Whites, colors, towels. I lean against the doorframe, like an understudy for a man who knows what to do with his hands. She holds up a shirt, mine, with a faint chalk smear near the hem. She looks at it, then at me. Neither of us says hallway. It'll wash out, she says softly. It always does, I answer, and the exchange is about more than chalk. When she leaves with a basket toward the bedroom, I take 3 steps into the hall.
I don't intend to.
The steps take me. The house is a magnet. The door is iron. I stop in front of it again. The knob is the same indifferent metal.
I put my ear to the seam.
Daylight silence is different, more honest. If there's noise now, it will have to be real. At first, nothing. Then, so faint I wouldn't have heard it if my heart weren't quiet. A whisper of fabric again, like someone turning over gently on a coarse sheet. I pull back. I know you're there, I say, before common sense tackles my mouth.
I can't open it. Silence.
But it's a listening silence now, not absence. It waits with me. I won't, I say.
I promised her. After a long pause, I hear something new. A soft tap, not a knock. Tap. A whisper of metal on wood. A ring, a buckle. Then
the drag, but short, like the arc of someone drawing a line. I back away, greedy for the safety of distance, and run into Lily. She's holding a folded towel like a white flag. Her face is calm, over-practiced calm.
Her eyes are not. We stand there with the basement between our chests. I'll call someone about the stairs, she says, as if the sentence can hold water.
Tomorrow. Okay, I say. The word and I are getting old together. Interior, dusk, kitchen. The sky thins to silver. We eat leftovers and pretend it's a choice. After we clean up, I linger by the counter. Why did you buy a house with a broken basement? I ask and wince at the way it sounds. I want to pull the question back by its tail. She doesn't flinch. Because it was ours. Then, because it was quiet. Then after a beat that contains something like grief. Because the basement is easy to avoid. Is it?
I ask, failing at neutral. For me, she meets my eyes.
Maybe not for you. I open my mouth. She shakes her head once, gently.
I'm not blaming you. What are you doing then? Trying to love you and the house at the same time. I have no idea what to do with that sentence.
I put it somewhere high and heavy and hope it doesn't fall on us later. Interior, night, bedroom. 2:06 a.m. The room is a ship adrift.
Rain barrels the roof like hands, drumming to be let in. Knock, it's softer tonight, or I've grown harder. Knock, the same spacing.
The rhythm is a fact now, not a superstition. Drag this time. The drag is followed by that small metallic tap, tap, tap. A rhythm-like code a child might invent. I sit up. Lily? I whisper. She inhales longer, then exhales with a sigh that might be words if I were kinder. Sleep, she murmurs.
Please, I slide out again and go to the door because patterns are prisons.
The hallway is a throat again, swallowing me. I kneel, ear to wood, knock. So close my skull rings. Tap, tap. The tap feels like a thin thing being struck against the underside of the floor, measured, patient, then drag, shorter, returning to where it came from, like a ritual. I can hear you, I say, without meaning to. Silence. Then, a new sound. Breath, not mine. A slow, steady exhale that fogs the space between the boards, so cold comes through with it. For a moment, my skin believes a human face is pressed against the underside of where my face is. I jerk back, hit the wall, bite back a noise that would have woken the dead, which is a phrase I regret thinking. Behind me, Lily's voice comes like a hand on my shoulder.
James, bed. I think. I stop. Names have gravity. I think there's someone down there. Her silence is larger than the hallway. No, she says finally.
Not denial, not deception, refusal. There is not. I laugh once, softly. The sound a man makes when the floor tilts.
You can hear the house, she says. What about the tapping?
I ask. Like metal. The ducts, she says.
Heat. It's not on. I hate that I know the timer's schedule. She closes her eyes as if unlooking will reweave the world. Please, I'm so tired of the word please being both a gift and a chain.
Okay, I say, and mean it for the next 5 minutes, which is as far as I can see. I go to bed.
I lie down.
The knocks come once more and then stop like a decision. Interior, pre-dawn, kitchen. I sit at the table with a pen and a notebook, a cup of cold coffee. Birds have not yet remembered their jobs.
I write what happened.
Not a voice memo this time, the kind of record no one can delete with a thumb.
I draw the hallway.
I mark the chalk X. I write, knock. 2 beats, knock. Drag. Tap tap, drag back. I note the times. I look at the words and feel both foolish and less alone.
Language is a way to put a fence around the dark and then tell yourself fences work. I tear the page out.
Fold it and slide it under the sugar canister. A ridiculous hiding place that feels like a ritual. When Lily comes in an hour later, her hair damp from the shower, she kisses my head and says, "Morning." She makes oatmeal. She hums. Domesticity is a raft in a flood. Still calling the handyman? I ask, choosing casual. Yes, she says. Today, I'll stay home, I say. To meet him. She hesitates just long enough to make the sentence a door, and then opens it. Okay, interior, late morning, hallway.
I stand in front of the basement door again, a supplicant. I hold the headlamp in my hand like a question I can't ask.
My other hand is empty and restless. I kneel and press my palm to the seam. I'm not opening it, I say softly. not sure if I'm promising the door, the thing, or the woman I married.
But I need you to stop. Silence. I can't sleep. I feel stupid bargaining with wood. Please, the house is a cathedral.
It receives my prayer and keeps its own counsel. Then, faint as a coin in a coat lining, I hear the tap, twice. Tap, tap. Not louder,
Not closer.
but deliberate. My mouth goes dry, my eyes sting.
I don't know why tears come.
Maybe recognition always hurts. Thank you, I whisper to the floor like an idiot. A key turns in the front door.
Lily steps in, cheeks bright with cold and something like decision. He can come at 3, she says. Miguel.
He did. Lily said she'd be gone by 5. I'll be back Sunday night, she told me, lifting the suitcase with 2 hands as if it had bones that could bruise. You'll be okay? Of course, I said, as if the word could make sure of anything. She stepped into me, soft forehead to my lips, a kiss that was both promise and truce. Then she pulled back to search my eyes with that careful, luminous attention she gives to recipes and wounds. If anything feels wrong, she said, call me. Wrong how?
I asked and hated that the question sounded hungry. Just wrong? She glanced past me down the hall toward that door we live beside like a shrine we don't believe in. Please, I won't open it, I said.
It came out too easily, like a line I'd practiced. She held my face an extra heartbeat, and I had the sudden sensation she was memorizing me, like people do when they won't have a photograph. She nodded, then rolled the suitcase over the threshold. The wheels made that cheerful lying noise that all suitcase wheels make. The door closed, and in its click was a kind of consent. The house exhaled.
I inhaled. It rained after she left.
A mild rain, the kind that doesn't commit to either cleansing or confession. I moved through rooms at the pace of a person trying not to step on a specific thought.
I made tea and abandoned it.
I turned on the TV and let a cooking show speak in sentences that ended neatly. I turned it off because neatness made me angry. At 6:30, the shadows in the hallway grew the kind of dark that films love. The basement door waited at the end, same as ever, paint blistered like old secrets, knob dull as a coin people pass around. I told myself I would eat early and sleep early. I told myself a lot of things I wasn't going to do. By 7, the rain had stopped. The house listened. By 7:03, the first knock came from under the floor. Not loud,
Not timid.
a single syllable of presence, and the drag, soft, unhurried. I pictured someone moving a heavy trunk slowly so it wouldn't wake a child.
I pictured the child was me. Stop, I whispered to myself, and the word had no object.
The house smelled of damp wood and rosemary because the smell of the past clings to a place after a storm. I walked to the bedroom like I was heading to a different sin and opened Lily's wardrobe. Interior.
Bedroom. Lily's wardrobe.
The light inside is the color of lies told kindly. Her clothes hung in tranquil order, folded sweaters like quiet landscapes, dresses that held in their fabric the memory of laughter at other people's tables. On the shelf, a small wooden box, smooth with the patience of hands. The box wasn't locked. It didn't need to be. The lock was me. I lifted the lid and found the thinnest kind of treasure, a ribbon from a bouquet I never bought.
A cinema ticket stub.
A photograph of us from a day we pretended to be unbreakable, her head on my shoulder, my smile a little wider than my comfort zone. Beneath these, a smaller box, velvet silver grey. I knew the weight of jewelry before I touched it. I opened it.
Not jewelry, a key.
Small, silver. 30 teeth would have been melodrama. This one had the precise mouth of a thing that has only one purpose and knows it. I didn't breathe. The silence became physical, like low pressure in a plane. Somewhere in the house, a cooling pipe ticked.
It sounded like a watch dying. I cradled the key in my palm.
A cold comma in a warm sentence. She would forgive me.
I told myself she would never forgive me.
I told myself. The 2 sentences fought in my chest like siblings who'd grown up well enough to stop biting, but not well enough to stop. I closed the wardrobe and the world felt smaller. The house seemed to lean slightly toward the hallway, like a person eager to overhear what you're about to admit. I walked into the hall, hand closing around the key, taking its shape. At the end of the corridor, the basement door looked, for the first time, like a face. Interior, hallway, night, deepening. The air cools as if the house is drinking. I stood there for a long time with my pulse instructing me, don't do, like a metronome with an argument. I put the key into the pocket of my jeans because my hands felt like evidence. "Lily," I said, into the empty hall, "I'm sorry." And the hall said nothing back because halls are very good at that. The knock didn't come again, as if it, too, were waiting to see what I'd become. I turned the knob the way you touch a sleeping animal. Slow, respectful, ready to pull back. It didn't turn. Of course it didn't. That's not a surprise. Surprises are rude. I took out the little silver key and held it up to the lock. It fit like a history. For a second, I didn't move. Time is a room you sit in until the courage arrives, or the fear does. They look the same when they enter. I turned the key. A click, clean and intimate, like a throat clearing before a confession. I felt the door relax in the frame as if it had been waiting to unlearn something. Cold air came up to meet my mouth. It smelled like metal left in rain, like dust rearranging itself into a new truth. And something else, something I don't have a name for, that slid behind other words when I looked at it. I eased the door open. Interior, basement stairs. Black descending.
Every step is a rumor. Cold breathed up the stairs like a story climbing to be heard. I didn't turn on the hall light.
I don't know if that was bravery or the refusal to give the dark a shape. I did pull the small flashlight from my pocket, the one I keep for outages and lost screws, and thumbed it on. The beam fell into a well of dust. Particles spun like shy animals. The first steps were plain wood, scarred and old. After 4, they turned, and the beam's cone couldn't find the landing. The railing was smooth where years had rubbed warning into comfort. I put a foot on the first step and listened. It groaned without collapsing, like a person aging. "Hello?" I said, quieter than I'd meant to. My own voice sounded like a stranger testifying. Nothing. No knock, no drag.
Absence wrapped itself around my ankles like water in a night lake. I went down. The second step took me.
The third accepted me. The fourth complained. And I froze, middle of the stair, suspended between 2 lives. The beam showed only more steps and the vertical stripe of wall. Paint had blistered here too, smaller blisters like the skin of someone who'd stood too close to a fire long after it had gone out. "Okay," I whispered, because I say that to everything I'm not sure of. I tested the 5th step with my weight. It held. The 6th was the sort of step you use only because you don't have a choice. I put my heel onto the outer edge where the wood sounded thicker and prayed to every carpenter who ever counted. At the half-turn landing, the temperature dropped. The flashlight's beam quivered from the tremor in my hand. I stood there, braced against the wall, and I realized my cheeks were wet. I hadn't felt the tears start. Fear arrives with a tactic. It makes you something you can pity. "Lily," I said again, just the name, as if it might become a rope. I went down the final run. Interior, basement, threshold. The floor receives me with the patience of dust. The beams swept left, right. The basement was not a cavern or a ritual site. It was a room under a house. Concrete floor, patched and stained. Stone foundation walls, damp outlines like continents in school atlases. Shelves along one side with the ordinary archaeology of a life. Paint cans, a coil of garden hose, a box labeled "Winter Lights" in Lily's careful hand. And yet, the air felt layered, not empty. The kind of layered you feel in a church, after a service when the people are gone, but the prayer hasn't left yet. In the far corner, the beam found a low door, half-height, cut into the wall the way farmhouses hide crawl spaces no one should have to love. A strip of wood had been nailed across it. Salt crystals lay thin as frost along the seam, as if someone had poured a line that later tried to stand up and be a fence.
I made a circle with the light.
No rats, no webs in the beam. The ceiling joists looked like ribs.
A single hanging bulb existed, but had been unscrewed enough to deny me.
I felt, instead of heard, a tremor in the house, wind finding a seam or breath. The kind of sensation you can't prove to other people without turning rude. I took 3 steps forward. The concrete was gritty under my bare feet. The grit announced itself like tiny verdicts. The flashlight touched something that reflected weakly. Metal. A bucket. Next to it, a length of rope curled like a question mark sleeping. I wanted evidence. Not because evidence helps, because it stops one kind of thinking. Talk, I said, into the beam's white, and the word sounded like it understood me and had no intention of obeying. The knock didn't come. Instead, off to my right, a soft dragging. The exact sound I'd memorized through the floor. Slow even, as if weight were being negotiated with. I turned the light and found nothing making it. That's the worst kind of sound. One with no body. Hello, I said, because I have no imagination when I'm terrified. Silence. Then a second dragging sound, further away behind the low door with the nailed strip, like someone shifting to make room for a second thought. Who are you?
I asked and hated my pronoun.
It felt too generous. The bulb above me flicked once, though I had not touched it. The filament must have decided to remember heat. The flashlight's beam looked suddenly small in the larger doubt. I approached the half door. The wood nailed across it wasn't thick. A single nail kept duty at each end. The salt line was broken in a handful of places, smeared as if by a broom or a hand. My mouth filled with a taste like copper pipe. I shouldn't, I said.
I promised. The words were quieter than my heartbeat.
Promises sound better when the person they belong to is in the room. Behind the half door, something breathed.
Not hard, not theatrical.
Just the fact of lungs. In out, in out.
Almost relieved?
I stepped back so fast the beam jerked, and in that thin white flicker it found the column at the center of the room, a wooden support post as old as the first paint on the porch. Around it, at its base, somebody had wound a length of cloth, stained dark, like a bandage.
I didn't want to know what for.
I looked away and the beam, disloyal, went with me. The normal shelves called to me then because normal is a drug.
I made myself walk to them. Boxes, a toolkit, a can of nails.
I put the flashlight in my mouth to free my hands and opened a box with my fingertips, like a thief pretending to be polite. Inside, postcards nobody ever sent, a stack of old bills bound with twine, a small, leather-bound notebook with the word inventory embossed in letters the size of resignation. My name was not on it.
I opened it anyway, Lily's handwriting.
Not entries with dates, lists. Things the house had swallowed. One blue plate, hairline crack. Trowel, handle loose. Jar of marbles, grandfather's. 3 votive holders. Then farther down, without category, sleep, quiet. The dream about a red bicycle. 2 moths. 3 tears, mine. The list was simple. It made no argument for itself.
It just kept going.
On the next page, in smaller letters, as if the hand had grown shy, something that knocks. My throat closed. I turned another page. A newer line, less steady. It learns the way we move. I shut the notebook. The dragging sound came again, nearer, like a neighbor who's learned your schedule. I hear you, I said to the corner. I hear you.
I don't know what to... I stopped.
People who talk to basements lose debates they don't remember starting. The air around my ankles cooled sharply, as if a door had opened below the floor that was already below the floor. The light quivered on the salt line at the half-door's seam. One crystal rolled. It made the smallest sound a stone can make. I took another step back, then another. Some part of me had wanted drama. The rest of me wanted stairs. The stairs were there, like choices you forgot you had. I reached the bottom step and placed my foot with the fear-honed delicacy of a cat who's not sure of the ground. Something knocked, not beneath me now, from inside the wall behind the shelves at shoulder height. A measured knock, as if to ask whether we kept a schedule. I swung the light and saw nothing but stone, patched with mortar that looked like scars that had once told their stories and were tired of it. I realized my teeth hurt. I was clenching them to keep my jaw from shaking. Enough, I said to the room, and to myself, which is the same thing most days. I climbed 1 step. The wood answered with its long, aching vowel.
I climbed another.
The cold climbed with me, as if item by item, weight by weight. Halfway up, the flashlight flickered. I slapped it against my thigh, an old ritual I don't believe in, and it steadied. The bulb above me, unscrewed, made a soft noise, the kind filaments make when they almost remember light. At the landing, I paused. The cold smelled sweeter here, like the wrong kind of flowers. Behind me, the dragging sound happened once more, slow and patient. It did not plead. It did not threaten. It continued, Lily, I whispered, not asking for her.
Asking for the version of me that keeps her. When I reached the top, my hand missed the doorframe the way a foot misses a stair you thought was there.
I put the flashlight in my teeth again, took the key from the inside of the lock, closed the door gently but not lovingly, and turned the key in the other direction until the lock bit like a small animal with a job. The hallway air warmed my face with the modest generosity of the everyday.
I set my forehead against the wood and breathed once like I'd been underwater.
The smell of old paint and the ghosts of citrus cleaner felt vulgar and holy. I slid down the door until I was sitting on the hallway floor, knees up, the flashlight dim in my lap, the tiny circle of its beam making a stage for dust to act its endless scene. Inside the pocket of my jeans, my phone pressed against my thigh as if it had been waiting to be useful. I pulled it out with stiff fingers and opened the voice memo app without thinking. The last recording, the one from the other day, stared up. Basement 5:12 p.m. I hit new and titled this one Basement. Opened. My thumb hovered over record. I didn't press it. Instead, I set the phone face down on the floor and listened with the old parts of me. The knock did not repeat. The dragging paused. Even the house's colonial sigh, that sound of beams remembering trees, softened. The quiet felt curated. I sat there until my back hurt and my feet went cold. Eventually I stood and walked to the kitchen and washed my hands because I'd touched the past and my fingers knew it. The water ran brown for a second, the color of dust more than dirt, and then cleared. I turned off the tap and the house said thank you the way faucets do, with a single, slow drip. I made tea again because rituals are a way to put handles on the night.
I didn't drink it.
I just held the mug and let the heat talk to my palms. The clock on the stove said 8:41 in the stubborn green of appliances that don't understand fear. I took the salt from the pantry. Back in the hallway, I knelt and drew a thin line across the seam at the bottom of the basement door. The crystals clicked softly as they left the spout. The line didn't look like protection. It looked like a sentence, and I didn't know the grammar. Please, I said. Not to the thing below, not to the door. To the part of myself that always arrives a little late. I put the key back where I found it. The velvet box in the wooden one. The wooden one on the shelf. The wardrobe closed with its familiar hush. When I turned away, the air in the room felt lighter, as if it appreciated symmetry. I stood in the bedroom doorway and looked down the hall. The salt line glimmered a little in the ambient dark, the way thin water finds light. For a second, exactly one, I thought I saw a darker darkness on the other side of the door, a shadow with an opinion. Then it was only the overlap of night and the edges of things. I slept badly, the kind of sleep that tilts and slides. In the reaches of the night, I dreamed I was standing on the basement stairs and the house was breathing me like an instrument. I dreamed the low door in the far wall was a mouth and the nailed strip was a lip someone had pressed shut. I dreamed salt melted into lace and the lace into water and the water into hands that did not mean me harm. Not particularly, just as much harm as anything that wants to be heard. Once, early morning grey smeared the windows and the birds tried out complaints like new shoes. I woke to a small sound, the lightest tap-tap in the hall. When I got up, the salt line at the base of the door showed 3 places where the crystals had shifted. As if a fingertip had tested them, the way a child tests the skin on cooling pudding. I didn't touch it. I stood there, and the day found me by afternoon. I had almost convinced myself that what I did could be stitched into a secret. People keep secrets like they keep spare keys, awkwardly, in obvious places, hoping no one checks. At 5:17, my phone buzzed. A message from Lily reached safely.
Tell me you're okay.
A picture followed, the inside of her sister's kitchen, a cat on the table looking guilty, a bowl of lemons that had never feared salt. I typed, I'm okay. House is quiet. Miss you. I did not tell a lie. I allowed a truth's outline to do the work. As evening brewed itself again, I set a chair in the hallway where the baseboard stops pretending to be architecture and just holds the wall up. I sat with a blanket and a mug and my phone on the table beside me. I felt like a guard who'd forgotten which side of the gate he's on. The house seemed to approve of the arrangement. Houses always approve when you sit still and pay attention. At 8, the first knock came. single, almost courteous.
At 8:02 the drag, I didn't speak. I didn't move.
I watched the salt line the way people watch the horizon for ships that are smarter than storms. The salt trembled. One grain rolled, then another, finding lower places the way truths do. I won't open it, I said in my head, because saying it out loud would have obligated me to hear how the air held it. I thought of the silver key in the velvet box in the wood box in the wardrobe. I thought of Lily's face tilting toward mine, as if to learn a new language. The second knock came from higher up this time, not under the floor, but from inside the door itself, like knuckles against wood from the wrong side. Soft, deliberate, my mouth went dry enough to creak. Not tonight, I whispered.
To it? To me?
To all the versions of us waiting behind things, the house, proud and terrible as all houses are, accepted the terms. I stayed in the chair until the clock hands made a tired cross. The knocks didn't come again. The drag came once, then not again, as if in agreement. When I finally stood, my legs were cold and my decision had the weight of furniture. I went to bed and lay in the dark and made a new promise. The kind you make only when no one can ask you to keep it. Tomorrow I go down again, but I do not go farther than the room the house gives me.
I do not touch the low door. I do not break the salt. I do not ask it for a name, and if that was not a promise, it was, at least,
a map. I tell myself I'm only going to look. Promises are easier to keep before you take the first step. I step. Cold swallows my ankles. The wooden stairs answer with old vowels. My phone's flashlight wakes the dust and makes each floating mote a decision. I count the steps like prayer beads, 1, 2, 3, and pause on the fourth because the fourth always pauses me. I listen for the knock. Nothing. No drag.
Only the sound of my own mouth forgetting how to be wet. Lily, I whisper, and the name makes the dark lean in. I keep going. Interior, basement, continuous.
The beam lands, finds the familiar, the central post wrapped in stained cloth, the shelving, the half-height door in the far wall with its nailed strip and the thin weathered salt along the seam. I told myself I wouldn't touch that low door again. That was last night. Last night, I was a man who still believed in the treaties he wrote with himself. Now I'm a man with a flashlight in his teeth and his hands on a nailed strip of wood. The wood is dry. It creaks softly when I test it left to right. The nails are old enough to be proud of what they've kept shut. I angle the beam at the heads and see orange flares of rust. A flathead screwdriver sits on the shelf to my left, the kind of tool every house hides for ordinary jobs. I lift it, and the ordinary job in my hand becomes the wrong kind. Just look, I say. You're not breaking in.
You're breaking open, thin sophistry.
The kind a person uses when his heart wants an excuse. The first nail lifts with a sound like a small animal waking. The second resists, then lets me have it.
I feel the stubbornness through the handle, a last reluctance that fails.
The wooden strip hangs by a memory. I take it off and lean it gently against the wall as if I mean to put it back, as if I deserve to. The salt line has been disturbed many times before me. I see the crusted places and the loose crystals like snow after birds. Tonight it is already broken, not by me, though it doesn't matter. I press my palm to the door and feel a coolness that is more than temperature. Behind this wood, the house has kept a breath. The half door sticks on its old hinges, then yields. It opens onto a black that is thicker than the basement's black, a closet inside a mouth. I set my phone to maximum brightness. The light pushes back as far as it can, then stops like a person at a cliff. A smell comes out first, metal and dust, and something else I can't name because the part of my brain that names is busy being afraid. Hello, I say, because I keep thinking language is a tool, and the dark keeps proving it's a mirror. No reply. I drop to one knee and wedge myself sideways through the low opening, one shoulder then the other, my breath making a small fog in my own light. My shirt snags on the splintered jamb and frees itself with a whisper. Inside, the floor changes from concrete to old wood. My bare feet register the difference the way tongues register the chip in a tooth. I stand hunched, the phone's beam jerking while my eyes adjust. When I finally aim the light, the room appears all at once, the way guilt does. Photos all over the walls, not framed, not neat, pinned with rusty tacks, taped where tape forgot how to stick, layered, overlapping, like scales on a sleeping thing. Hundreds, maybe more. The edges of most are burned, crinkled black like the tongues of paper flames. The faces on them, some whole, some charred away. They look out from time like people do from bus windows, when they do not know who you are but suspect.
You are someone. My breath gets
Smaller, until I have to remember how to make it big.
Again, I move closer in tiny steps, the beam trembling.
The first photo my mind finally accepts is of a house, this house, but older, the porch less sure of itself, the paint still believing in itself. The second is a kitchen, not ours, not anyone's I can place, with a bowl of lemons that I feel I've seen before. The third is a hallway that looks like ours if the light were a different kind. I lift the beam higher. A row of faces, people I don't know. A man in a checkered shirt leaning on our fence in winter.
A woman in a red coat standing at the driveway with a paper bag, the cat's tail a question mark at her ankles.
A boy on a bicycle, blurred mid-ride, eyes bright, the wheels ghosted by motion. Most of the faces have a smudge over the eyes like someone rubbed the photo too often there. The photos were not taken from inside this room. They were taken from outside, from life, then brought here to line the walls to make a skin out of memory. I turn slowly, my neck stiffening with the turn. More images. The basement stairs from below. The half door from this side closed, the strip nailed across it. Someone documented the door that keeps them from us. Someone loves the boundary more than the thing bounded. I'm about to step back when the beam throws a rectangle higher up, almost near the low joist, my bedroom. The bed, the quilt Lily's mother gave us.
And there, I see him. Me. Asleep on my side, mouth open a little in sickness or trusting.
The shot is angled from the hallway, the bedroom door just a sliver, the lens peeking through. My shoulder shines the way shoulders do when skin reflects a weak moon. I don't recognize the body the way you don't recognize your voice on an answering machine. I point the light away and back again to be sure it's not my mind filling in a blank. The photo is real. Below it, another, me again, except I'm not asleep. I'm walking in town, head down, hands in pockets, crossing at the bakery that sells the ugly cookies that taste better than they look. The shot is from across the street, from the corner where the florist's window throws its little reliable neon. The world looks ordinary around me, which makes the photo obscene. The two images make a sound in my head. A high, steady tone like the whine of old TVs. I press my tongue to my teeth until the tone cracks. Then I lower the phone because I can't carry the light any longer. When the beam drops, the room withdraws, polite. The photos continue existing without my permission. I force the beam back up. The next image isn't a photo. It's a printed still, mid-blur. The shutter having caught motion that didn't want to be caught. The hallway again. The basement door at the end. A shape half in darkness, half in the door's geometry. I tell myself the shape is a trick of shadow.
I tell myself that so I can finish this next breath. I turn. I see more photos of me. Me at the sink, me tying a shoe by the mat, me at the end of the hall with my head slightly turned, offering the camera the good side I didn't know I had. Who took these? I ask out loud, and the question doesn't echo because this room knows how to keep a voice. I pinch the bridge of my nose hard enough to flash light behind my eyes.
When I let go, tears jump and recede, ashamed. The gentle electronic chime of my phone breaks the air. A notification from itself. Some software insisting I haven't reviewed my memories. I laugh, a small, unpleasant noise. Not now, I tell the algorithm. Then I see the icon I didn't summon, a thumbnail in my gallery that wasn't there and is. The label reads recent video. I tap. The video fills the screen. My hands are too big and I almost drop the phone. The picture resolves, our bedroom door, open a sliver, the dark seam of hallway beyond, the curl of the rug that always catches toes. A figure stands in the seam, just out of the frame's center, as if whoever took the video wanted to pretend they didn't. Black hair, the shoulder line I know like my own hand. Lily. She's facing inward, toward the sleeping shape in the bed. Me. But she isn't moving.
Not alarmed.
Not tender. Still as a saint in a painting that does not preach mercy. After 2 seconds, 3, her mouth bends. A slow, private smile. Not broad, not teeth. A smile like someone recognizing a song from childhood. The video is silent, except for a faint breath not synced with mine on the bed. I jerk my thumb to pause it.
I fail. It keeps playing.
She tilts her head slightly as if listening to the house or to me just below waking. Then the video stops.
8 seconds. I replay it.
The same smile. The same tilt. I scrub the timeline with my thumb. The phone's glass is cold with the basement's air. The metadata says it was recorded at 2:13 a.m. 2 nights ago, exactly when I woke to the first knock. The file name is not a file name, it's a word, watching. I don't realize I've moved until I feel my shoulder against the wall, touching photos I didn't want to touch. Paper rustles. I pull away. A corner tears. The sound is small and mean. Why? I say, and now it echoes, a thin little echo that comes back wrong. I clutch the phone in both hands to steady it. In the videos still, Lily is an arrangement of pixels that could be innocence or design. She is my wife and a stranger, and my breath hurts. If I call her, what will I say? Why were you watching?
Me? What are these photos? Who are all these people? Who taught you to smile like that in the dark? The house answers for her with the oldest sound it knows. A shifting of beam against load.
My light quivers, shadows debate their borders and then agree on different ones. Eyes swallow. There's a work table under the lowest row of photos. 2 sawhorses and a plank. On it, a box of tacks, a coil of tape, a stack of prints face down. I lift the top print and turn it over with the caution usually reserved for alive things. It's the pantry door, ajar, a strip of light on the flour tin. Nothing. I lift another. The bathroom mirror, clouded, the outline of a person beyond the glass. Not me. Taller, maybe. Wrong at the edges like fog trying to be a man. I put it down. My hands betray me with a tremor that tries to be useful, and is not. Farther down the plank sits a little black book. Not the inventory I found last night. Smaller, scuffed, elastic loop, broken. I touch it the way I would touch a hot kettle. Quick, committing. The cover is unmarked. Inside, the first page has a single word in Lily's hand. Names. I read the first page the way you read a grave you wish had different letters. Eloise Marsh, crossed out. Peter Quinn, crossed out. Anna Delgado, crossed out. Gabe, no last name, crossed out. Mr. Halverson, landlord, crossed out. June, crossed out. The cross is deeper here, the pen having cut the paper into a small scar. Blank space. James. No cross. My name looks both careful and quick, as if the hand wanted to be sure and wanted to be finished. I set the book down because I don't trust my ability to keep holding it and remain the person who came in here. The phone's light makes the white of the page too clean. I close it. The elastic, though broken, tries to do its job for a half second and then gives up, a gesture I admire without wanting to. I hear the drag. Not soft now, not nearer, just present. It moves along the far side of the wall this secret room backs against the stone boundary that meets the earth. A picture pin vibrates and sings the tiniest single note you've ever heard. I raise the beam and the rows of faces ripple as a draft mills them, and for a moment all the eyes are alive. I'm not yours, I say to the room. I'm not anyone's. My voice tries to be brave and comes out truthful instead. The drag stops. The silence doesn't comfort. It only means the next thing is choosing when to arrive. I look back at the notebook as if it might be replaced by a kinder object if I blink. It isn't. My name sits there with its lack of ending. I trace the air above it with a finger, not touching. A stupid superstition tells me that to touch is to allow. What are the names? People she watched, people she helped, people she hurt, people she saved. The mind runs its horses, the stable doors crash. I try for order. I take photos of the notebook pages with my phone, one at a time, angles corrected, glare managed. I photograph the walls. I photograph the video on the phone with the phone because nothing is ridiculous anymore. Each click is louder than the drag was. A voice memo could catch the air in here. I thumb to the app and hesitate. The last entry reads, basement, opened with nothing in it, as if I already knew I'd be too occupied to narrate. I hit record and say, James, scene 5, secret room.
Photos. A lot. Edges burned. Some me. I stop. Hearing my own voice in evidence makes me want to vomit. I delete the memo and put the phone back to camera, like a coward who calls it strategy. The floor shifts under me, not the wood.
Me. My knees go soft and I sit on the plank table without meaning to. It creaks, but holds. I close my eyes because the light in here has stopped helping. With my eyes closed, the house becomes a sound map. The faint hum of the refrigerator upstairs, the slow tick of the heating system cooling, the almost inaudible pop of an old nail remembering tension. And beneath all that, closer than any of it, a breath. Not human, not inhuman, just persistent, that threads itself through time like someone stringing beads who knows grief. Open my eyes. The phone's battery shows 19%. This is not the place to run out. I stand. Okay, I say, because for some reason, I think the room expects words before I go. Okay, I see you. I see this. I gesture at the walls with my free hand. I know something now. On the way out, I pause at the low doorway and look back with the beam low. The light catches an object I hadn't seen on the floor by the far wall. A metal camera tripod collapsed. A lens cap with a brand I can't pronounce. A coil of black cable like a sleeping snake. It is all unnervingly ordinary. Tools, not fetishes. I duck back through, shoulders scraping, and the half door swings to without much arguing. I hold it with my foot and consider rehanging the nailed strip. The wood waits leaning against the wall, cooperative. The nails sit in my palm, cold along my lifeline. I drive the first nail back with the screwdriver handle, a bad hammer. It goes in crooked and I force it true. The second follows. The strip sits again where it sat before I interrupted its career. I pour a thin line of salt from the box in my
pocket. When did I put it there? And watch the crystals pile.
The gesture feels both pious and childish. I do it anyway. We are none of us above childhood when the dark has our name. On the way to the stairs, I stop at the central post wrapped in cloth. I don't touch it. I don't need to know. Not tonight. I already know too much and nothing. At the bottom step, I turn and lift the beam one last time at the room I just left. In the cone of light, the photographs have resumed their stillness like actors at the end of rehearsal. Somewhere behind them, the drag begins again, as if setting a clock I didn't know we owned. Not now, I whisper. And the drag, courteous, slows and ceases. I climb. At the top, I pull the basement door closed with both hands. The wood kisses the jamb with a muffled, domestic sound. I lock it. The lock is warm in my fingers from the friction of fear. In the hallway air, the phone's screen seems too bright. I dim it and it becomes human again. My hands shake so much I have to lean my shoulder into the wall to keep stopping from becoming falling. I walk to the kitchen. I put the phone flat on the table and stare at it as if it could confess. The video thumbnail sits there, patient, the first frame frozen on Lily's silhouette in our door. She is a fact. The room is a fact. I am a rumor between them. Call her, I say to myself. Ask. I lift the phone, my thumb scrolls to her name. I picture her sister's kitchen in the photo she sent, the cat, the lemons, afternoon shoulder light on tile, and hear myself become the person who ruins weekends. I set the phone down and decide not to lie about why, not because I don't want to worry her, because I do not know what I'm asking yet. Instead, I open a new note and type. There is a secret room behind the half door. Photos, So many. Me in bed, me in town. A video of you standing in our door at 2:13 a.m. smiling. I found a little book of names.
Yours not there. Mine at the end, not crossed. I don't know what this means. I think I know what it wants me to think. I think I don't believe what I think. Please tell me the truth. I don't send it. I save it. It feels like sliding a letter under the future's door.
The house, unsatisfied with my restraint, decides to participate. From under my feet, knock. Then, as scripted, the drag. I sit very still at the table and answer the only way I can. By not moving. Minutes pass the way deer do, with one ear turned to a thing you can't see. When I finally stand, I do small tasks because small tasks keep men from burning. I wash the one cup I dirtied. I fold the dish towel on its thin line of counter. I wind the salt box shut. I put the screwdriver back in the drawer, upside down where it lives. I notice my shirt's shoulder is torn where I scraped through the low door. I press the fabric together and it holds like a wound deciding to behave. Back in the hallway, I kneel. The salt seam at the basement door is a very fine map. I smooth it with the edge of a business card. 3 little channels show through the crystals where something tested the border earlier. I fill them and pat the line like a parent pats a child's hair after a nightmare and says, the powerless line, "You're safe now. In bed, sleep does not want me." When it finally comes, it brings me to the secret room again. But this time the photos have no faces. Only backs of heads, only shoulders, only the sense of being witnessed without the witness wanting to be known. In the dream, I lift my phone, and its light is a moth that keeps crashing into the same pane of glass, learning nothing.
I wake at 2:12 with tears on my face. I wipe them into the pillow where they become ordinary. At 2:13, nothing happens. I count the seconds anyway out of respect. At 2:17, a soft knock touches the floor under my bed, as if blessing. I turn my head to the bedroom door.
It is closed. The seam at the bottom is a thin black mouth. I watch it like it might speak. It doesn't. When morning finally drags itself up the sky, I dress, make coffee I do not drink, and sit in the living room with the photos I took on my phone. I swipe through them slowly, like a person handling relics. The notebook page with my name last and uncrossed holds me the longest. I enlarge it until the paper fibers are a geography. I trace the J with my finger on glass that feels warmer now. It occurs to me suddenly and violently that the names might not be victims. What if they are keepers?
Witnesses?
What if the crossing out doesn't mean finished but spared?
I don't know why that thought makes me colder. I close my eyes. I see Lily in the video at the door again, the small, private smile.
I try to read it this time as love, as a woman standing at her sleeping husband's door because she is grateful he is here and breathing and hers. The smile can hold that meaning if I let it. It can hold other meanings too. I open a blank message to her again and write, "We need to talk about the basement and the room behind it. Please come home. I leave it unsent. I'm not ready to know whether she is." The house returns to its daytime trick, being harmless. Snowmelt light lays flat on the hallway floor. The salt line gleams. Somewhere, a bird tries a new arrangement of notes and keeps it. I stand and go to the basement door and press my ear to it.
Wood on skin.
It feels like listening to a friend through a wall. "Not today," I say to whatever is under there. The door, to its credit, does not answer. As I turn away, my phone buzzes. A new message lights the screen from an unsaved number. "Do not cross your name." Not yet, I freeze. My lungs forget the choreography. The message has no punctuation, no greeting, no threat. Just instruction. "Who is this?" I type, because that's what frightened men type when they are trying to sound like the kind of men who don't scare. No reply. The 3 dots appear, vanish, appear, vanish, like a person opening their mouth at a confession and deciding to wait. I stare at the door until the grain swims. In the silence that follows, the house makes a new sound, a tiny laugh, almost, but it's only a nail settling, I tell myself. And for now, I choose to be someone who believes myself. I pocket the phone, leave the hallway, and walk toward the day like a person walking into weather he has not checked. Behind me, down under the floor, something arranges itself for night. On the far wall of the secret room, a tack works slightly looser. A burned photo edge uncurls a little, showing more of a face than it showed yesterday. Somewhere in the dark, a list waits for a hand, and my name waits for a line through it. Or doesn't. For now, it is only a name. For now,
I am still the one who writes it. Footsteps, not the careful sideways skitter of a mouse.
Not the tick of a pipe remembering winter.
Full, human steps on hardwood above me.
They cross the living room, pause, cross again. James?
Lily's voice.
From upstairs, clear, close, my mouth empties.
She's back early, I whisper to the cold air, and the cold air holds the words like a secret it's willing to sell. I move for the stairs. 2 steps, 3.
My heel finds the familiar ache in the 4th, and I climb into it.
I more breath an apology.
I will tell her everything.
I will tell her nothing. I will. The basement door slams, not the wind.
Not gravity.
A deliberate palm.
The sound hits the stairwell like the end of an argument no one won. Lily! I shout, and the shout folds in the tight wood throat of the stairs.
Lily, it's me. Open it.
I reach the top and put my shoulder against the door, the way you do when love seems like a physical thing you can lift with your back. Lily! Her voice through wood. You opened it. The words are simple and they weigh like a verdict. You weren't supposed to open it. The syllable breaks.
I choose a version of me I can live with. I only looked. I didn't go far.
Lily, please open the door. On my tongue there is dust and salt. On my chest there is the thud of a heart that suddenly knows its job isn't permanent. A lock clicks. The sound is precise, domestic, intimate. A throat clearing in a quiet church. The door opens a hand's width, sighs, then creep widens as if measuring me. Lily stands there in the hallway light.
No suitcase. No umbrella. Damp around the edges like she's walked through weather that changed its mind.
Her smile gone. In its place, a face I've seen only at funerals where crying would make things worse. We look at each other for one long, unbearable second. Then her eyes drop to the floor, my bare feet dust-printed on the top step, the thin seam of salt I had poured now broken and smudged. She doesn't look surprised. She looks tired. Tired like a person who has carried heavy things up invisible stairs and does not want a trophy for it. Up, she says softly. Stepping aside, I climb into the hallway, the temperature hitting me like a door I don't see. The house smells like laundry and soup and the kind of safety that is only true on brochures. I try to take her hand. She steps back so my fingers close on nothing. Lily, inside? She nods toward the living room. Not here. I turn to close the basement door, habit, guilt, superstition, and she stops me with a single, flat no. She pulls it shut herself and turns the key. The lock bites. The sound is the sound of a story choosing its ending. She walks to the living room, and I follow with the obedience of a dog that has finally recognized the leash. Interior, living room, continuous.
A lamp on, the throw blanket folded too neatly.
The chair I sat sentry in last night, pushed half an inch from its mark. Lily stands, arms crossed, without malice, like a person holding in heat. Her eyes rest on my face, then on my shoulder where the shirt is torn from the half-door jam, then back to my face as if none of this is a surprise.
As if the only puzzle left is whether I am the same man I was yesterday. I tried to wait, she says. Wait for what?
For you to decide you love me more than you loved a door. It lands.
It hurts because it's unfair, and it hurts because it might be fair. I do, I say, too fast. I do love you more. She tilts her head slightly the way she did in the video. And yet there's dust on your feet, I glance down.
Grey half-moons on the skin and the crescents of my nails dark from old wood. Evidence is never dramatic. It's patient. Why are you back?
I ask, grasping at a different rope.
You said Sunday. My sister called, she says. She said the cat knocked a shelf and lemon oil went everywhere, and she needed both hands for the mess. It felt like an excuse the sky wrote.
I got in the car. Halfway here, I thought, turn around.
Then the road narrowed and there wasn't room. We stand in our living room like people in a photograph taken right before the flash. The house hums its low winter hymn.
Upstairs, somewhere, a radiator ticks. Lily, I say. And I hate the way the name sounds like begging. I found a room. I know you did. There are photos. She doesn't move. Of strangers. Of this house. Of me, James. Her voice is a hand pressed against a panic button that you aren't supposed to press.
Sit. I don't. Sitting feels like agreeing to a version of the day I did not vote for.
I lean instead, which is a kind of sitting you can deny later. What is it? I ask. The room.
The pictures. The names. She flinches when I say names, small and honest. You read it?
I saw a book. I make the sentence careful.
A list, names crossed out.
Mine at the end.
Not crossed. For the first time since she opened the door, her eyes sharpen with something like anger or grief wearing anger's mask. You were not supposed to see that. Then why write it? I ask before I can stop the boy in me who never learned to choose silence. Why keep a list at all? To remember, she says. To not forget what I promised. What did you promise? It comes out too loud. The house listens closer. That you would live. The words land in the center of my chest, like a hand pressing cloth over a wound. From a door? From what listens behind it. As if on cue from beneath our feet, knock, soft, polite. The drag that follows is the friction of a heavy thing moving carefully. Lily's eyes flick down, then back up. Do you hear it? She asks, and her voice is not the voice of a woman accusing or defending. It's the voice of a person taking attendance during a fire. I hear it, I say, and I am both ashamed and relieved to be believed. She closes her eyes for 1 second. When she opens them again, the person who knows how to arrange a home is gone. The person who knows what houses keep is here. You broke the salt. I poured it again. I hear the child in me.
I want to slap him and pick him up at the same time. It doesn't matter, she says.
It matters until it doesn't, and then it matters too much. Lily, what is it?
I'm trying to keep my voice low, and I am failing.
What is it? Why the photos?
Why me sleeping? Why you? The word clots in my throat. Smiling, she doesn't look away.
Because sometimes love and watching are the same thing, she says softly. And sometimes they aren't. And sometimes you don't know which one you've been doing until there's a door between you.
That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give without feeding it. We stand with that.
The house changes its breathing the way rooms do when a storm is somewhere else. I want the truth, I say. I want you alive, she says back, not missing a beat. Those wants don't always fit in the same room. Another knock from below. Closer to the hallway this time, as if following the conversation. Who are the names?
I ask, the question a blade I don't know how to sheath. People you watched? People it wanted? People you... Stop! Her hand is up, palm lightly out, not commanding, pleading.
Stop before you say a thing you don't know how to live with. The drag continues, slow and loyal. She glances toward the hall. Did you open the small door in the wall? She asks. Yes. Her jaw tightens in a manner that on any other night would only mean she is solving a recipe.
And the strip? I replaced it. I add, gracelessly, I'm sorry. A breath leaves her that isn't a sigh, but stands near one and borrows its coat.
Okay, she says. Okay. She looks toward the kitchen, toward the drawer with the tools, toward the pantry with the salt. We can still...
Hold it. Maybe. Hold what? I say, and I can't keep the snapped edge off it. She looks at me again as if I'm the last picture on the wall and she's trying to decide whether to burn the edges.
The house came with this, she says. Houses come with attics and plaster dust. Some come with keeping. You mean haunting, I say, because the word is stupid and saying it will make me feel smarter than it. She shakes her head. I mean keeping. Haunting assumes anger, a beat.
It isn't angry. What is it then?
Attentive. The word chills me more than angry ever could. She walks past me toward the hall.
I follow because I always have.
At the basement door, she kneels, sets her ear against the wood. I see the small gesture of her shoulders, listening. She nods once, like a person who's been called by name and is answering attendance. Lily, I say. Go upstairs, she says, standing. Please, I'm not leaving you here with... I can't decide whether to finish with it or this. She surprises me by taking my hands.
They're cold. Hers are warm, and the warmth feels like the last good thing.
Look at me, I do. I'm not a witch.
I'm not a villain. I am a woman who married you and owes more than only the promises she made that day. She swallows.
There were promises before you. To who?
I whisper. To the house. She lets go gently like she's setting down a fragile plate. And to what listens? No, I say. And I don't know if I mean no, I don't accept that, or no, I won't let you be the person who has to pay.
We can leave. Her mouth bends with a kindness that hurts.
You think doors don't travel?
From beneath, knock, not loud, not angry, present. She slides the bolt on the basement door back and unturns the key. I put a hand out, impulsive.
Don't. We can't pretend, she says.
Not after the room. What's in that room, Lily?
Why my picture?
Why me in bed?
And the list, why am I last?
Because you were the first I chose. The words are so quiet I almost ask her to repeat them. Not the house. Me. I blink stupidly. What does that mean?
It means I loved you out loud, she says.
The names before were from before. Family, tenants, people who touched the house and left with it on them. I wrote them to keep count. I crossed them when they learned to live. And me? You came here with a heart that listens, she says, and her eyes look like the video still, fixed on me, full of something that isn't menace, isn't simple tenderness. It hears knocks. It goes downstairs. I couldn't cross your name until I knew you could hear and still stay upstairs. I didn't, I say. You didn't, she repeats, almost a smile, almost grief. You went? I found a video, I blurt, because confession is a reflex. You at the door, watching me sleep, smiling. She closes her eyes. This time it is a sigh.
Yes? Why?
Because I wanted to memorize what you look like when you're safe, she says without shame, in case I had to do something that made you unsafe. The floor seems to tilt an inch. What would that be? Close the door, she says, as if that answers everything and nothing. Or open it, depending on what? On whether you believe me. We stand inches apart with a door between us and something that keeps its own ledger. Her face is tired and beautiful in ways that are not magazine kinds of beautiful.
It is the beauty of a person who stayed to do a job the house asked for and who finally wants to sit down. I believe you're trying to protect me, I say.
I don't know from who. Not who, she says. That gentleness again.
Well, it's not a person, James, it's a keeping.
The house keeps a thing and the thing keeps a house, and we live between those keepings. I can't help it.
I laugh once, the short bark a man makes when he finds out old fairy tales were documentaries.
That's not an explanation. It's the only one that doesn't feed it, she repeats. The drag starts again, insistent now, a body adjusting its weight for a longer listening. Lily takes the salt box from her pocket, hers, not mine, shakes a clean line at the jam, neat as pastry sugar. She fishes a short length of red thread from the drawer, ties it around the key. What are you doing?
I ask. Binding. She lifts the key, the thread like a vein.
It likes vows. It understands them. It listens better when we use them. She places my hand around the key.
Say it. What?
The vow you made the first night. Her eyes hold me. Say it like you mean it or don't say it at all. My mouth is dry and my throat is the wrong size.
I feel ridiculous and terrified. Two children who hold hands when no one is looking. I
won't open the basement door. Again, she says. I will not open the basement door. The words pass over my tongue like a familiar road that has been repaved. She nods once. Now say, even when I hear it. Even when I hear it, I say. The knock answers, calm as a clerk stamping a document. She guides my hand to place the key on the hook by the frame. The red thread hangs like a small artery. Go upstairs, she says again, but there's no command in it. There is hope. I'm not leaving you, I say. You aren't, she says. You're staying up there. A flicker of the almost smile.
That's all I need from you. For tonight, what are you going to do?
Talk without teaching, she says. Ask without offering.
Listen without letting it climb. Every verb smells like metal. You can't, I begin. She lifts a hand. I've done it longer than you've lived here. I taste tin.
I taste the part of me that wants to be the hero and the part that understands some stories, already cast their heroes, and I am not in that scene.
If I hear, you'll hear, she says, not unkind. Don't come. If you love me, don't come. I hate that this is the shape love takes tonight. She turns the key.
The lock gives. She opens the door just enough to let the cold rise like a hand. She steps onto the first stair and looks back up at me.
Cross me off, she says. What? In the book? She manages to smile this time, small, real. Cross my name, you're not in it. I am everywhere in that room, she says, and the line is too much for my chest.
If there's not a name, make one. Then, do you remember where the pencil is? In the box.
On the plank? Good. She puts her foot on the second step.
The wood receives her with respect. Lily, she waits. Did you put my name last, I ask, because you thought I'd be the last? I put it last, she says, because I wanted you to be the first I crossed. She goes down. The cold tightens the skin of my legs. The house tips its ear. I stand in the doorway, not brave enough to go, not obedient enough to close it. On the third step, she stops, turns, climbs back up too, presses her forehead to mine. For a moment, all the doors in the world are invented things. If it says your name, she whispers, don't answer. It?
I say, the house, she says.
Or the keeping, or me. Don't answer unless I touch you. I start. She puts a finger on my lips. Promise. I promise, I say into her fingertip, into the skin I have kissed on easier days. She nods, goes. The dark receives her like a well receives a coin. The flashlight in my hand throws a thin rope of light down the stairwell until it meets her shoulder, then her elbow, then nothing. The sounds begin at once, as if they were waiting for cue. The soft knock, the low drag like cloth over concrete, the rustle, not wind, not animal, a page turning that no hand is on. I close the door to a seam, leave it not quite latched. I stand there like a guard who knows the gate is ceremonial. My whole body is listening. She speaks below, her voice steady, a language without nouns. I catch only shapes. Not tonight. You have enough. We've kept our side. Then a pause. Then her voice again, firmer. No names. The knock answers once, louder. The bolt trembles under my palm. The red thread on the key glows in the lamplight like a vein under thin skin. Upstairs, the radiator bangs once, distant thunder in a theatre.
I force my feet to move.
I cross the hall, pick up the chair I used as my vigil throne, and carry it back to the living room. I set it facing the hallway, then decide that looks like I'm keeping watch and will go running. I turn it toward the window instead, sit, and stare at the watery reflection of a man I both recognize and don't. From below, a long, low scrape, a breath. Lily's voice, low and even, threading through it, making a loom out of two dangers. Minutes pass.
I could measure them by the way the lamp warms the side of my knee.
The house speaks in the old dialect of timber. The knock's thin, as if bored or sated. Once a sound like a hand on the underside of a table moves under the floor, and I feel it in my bones, and I do not go. I watch the doorway the way you watch a horizon at sea, sure a shape will appear. It does. Lily, finally, one hand on the jamb, hair escaping the careful knot, a smear of dust across the line of her cheekbone, like war paint no one intended.
I'm on my feet without memory of standing.
She steps into the hallway carpet like a person returning from a different time zone. Behind her, the basement air pushes outward, then sighs and pulls back. She closes the door gently, turns the key, ties the red thread in a tighter knot. Only then, when the wood is between us and the listening thing again, does her body remember to shake. I reach for her and she lets me. Her head finds the shelf between my shoulder and my throat that was built for exactly this. For a while I am nothing but arms and her weight, and the sound of two people refusing to fall. When she pulls back, I see it. Exhaustion like a bruise, and something else, younger than fear, older than relief. It's quieter, she says, as if reporting the weather. What did you do? What we always do, she says, a ghost of humor in it. We bargained over nothing and pretended it mattered. We promised to keep each other. It promised to keep the house. We are all liars when we are scared. Is it done? For tonight? I nod as if that is enough. She glances toward the bedroom. You should sleep. You should sleep, I say, mine the smaller imitation. She half laughs, half shivers.
I can't yet.
There are small things. She means salt to sweep, thread to retie, doors to bless with palms as if skin were scripture.
No. She touches my chest.
You did your part, which was not coming when you heard, she says. And though it should sting, it doesn't. I understand the shape of this heroism now. It looks like staying upstairs. She turns to go and I catch her hand. Wait. I go to the entry table, the junk drawer, pull out a soft pencil. I take the notebook I brought up from the secret room and lay it open on the wood. The page with names looks back like a court. She watches me. I write, Lily key crossed. My hand shakes on the cross line. It isn't a strike so much as a caress. When I'm done, the page looks like a promise kept in bad handwriting. I set the pencil down and look up. She is crying the smallest tears, the kind you don't wipe because wiping would make them official. Thank you, she whispers, and it sounds like a person being released slightly. We stand with that book between us like a child we haven't named yet. From below, in the paused hush of the house, comes one last knock, courteous as a neighbor tapping a wall to say goodnight. Then nothing. I take her hand. She lets me. We walk to the bedroom together. The hallway is only a hallway. The door at its end is only wood. The red thread is only thread. But tonight, they have done a job that deserves promotion. In the doorway, she stops, touches my face. Tomorrow, she says, and I hear 20 meanings. Tomorrow, I say back, choosing only one. We tell each other the rest. She nods. In the bed, the quilt makes small weather. She lies on her side and faces me. I watch her breathe until the breath stops pretending to be calm and becomes calm. When my eyes close, they close on the picture of her, standing in the hall in that video, smiling at me, sleeping. I decide to believe the smile was love and not inventory. Sometime just before morning, the radiator ticks, the fridge hums, and the house keeps its counsel. Beneath the floor, a drag stirs once, then resettles like a body that has decided to wait.
I do not go downstairs. I keep my vow.
And for the first time since the knocking began, the nothing that follows feels like a kind of mercy. I step back. Not far. Just enough that my shoulder brushes the damp wall. The wall is slick with condensation, cold as stone in a crypt.
My body wants to run. My legs betray me. They only give me an inch. Lily doesn't move. Her eyes aren't Lily's anymore.
They shine without light, deep and hollow like glass marbles. They used to laugh, they used to flinch at kindness. Now they're empty wells waiting. You were perfect, she says. Her voice is wrong too.
Not cruel. Worse, calm, gentle. The way someone thanks a machine for breaking the way it was designed to. My throat dries. I manage a whisper. What?
But you got too curious. The sentence floats between us, soft, like a verdict whispered at confession. My heart is a hammer in my ribs. My brain shouts, run, 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 but my body is nailed here by a truth I don't understand. From behind her, in the dark stairs and the deeper dark beyond, I hear shuffling.
Slow, soft, deliberate. Shadows stir.
One figure, then another, then more. They step out, not fast, not clumsy, like they've rehearsed this moment. Figures, pale, silent. Their faces, grey-white, skin sagging, mouths slack. Their eyes, lifeless, no shine, no person, just emptiness like lilies. They wear clothes that don't belong to now. Some in coats too old, hems frayed. Some in dresses burned at the edges like the photos in the room. Some barefoot, skin cracked as stone.
They don't blink.
They don't breathe. They only look. My phone flashlight trembles over them, and each beam catches faces I almost recognize. A man in a checkered shirt.
A woman in a red coat.
The boy on the bicycle. Faces from the photos in the secret room. Faces crossed out in the notebook. They're not photos anymore. They're here, and they are waiting for me. The truth crashes into me with the kind of force that doesn't knock you down. It makes you still.
I'm not her husband.
Not the man who loved her and laughed with her and promised to fix the fence in spring.
That man is gone.
Gone where?
Into this grey crowd. Into silence. I was her experiment. A replacement. A new name on the list. The last.
Not crossed yet, Lily, I manage. Her name comes out like a cough.
Tell me I'm wrong, please. Her smile. The smile I once loved because it was quiet, private, soft, has been erased.
She wears no smile now.
Only certainty. You heard the knocks, she says.
You answered. The house knows you now. It knows your shape, your breath, your hunger, and it doesn't let go once it learns. Behind her, the pale ones shift. Their heads tilt. Their mouths hang just open, as if waiting for a note to sing. None comes. The silence is worse than any sound. Lily, I say again, but I don't know who I'm calling. She steps closer. 1 foot on the stair. The wood doesn't creak.
She doesn't blink. You thought you were my husband, she says.
But my husband was before before the house, before the keeping. She tilts her head, and her hair falls in a curtain that used to brush my face when we kissed.
You are the next. I shake my head. Slow like denial can be armor. I'm James. You were James, she corrects.
Now your silence. The crowd behind her shifts closer. Their feet don't scuff. They move as if the air itself carries them. The flashlight in my hand spasms once, twice, then steadies again, but weaker, its cone narrower, as if the battery knows the end too. I press myself back against the wall. My chest seizes with each breath.
No, I won't. You will. Her voice is silk, stretched over iron. Because the house needs it. It always needs. And you listened when it knocked. I can't help it, I shout.
Why me? Her answer is a whisper, but it carries through the basement like thunder anyway, because you stayed. A silence heavier than stone fills the room. For a second, the house itself holds its breath. Then, she steps off the stair into the basement proper.
Her face is inches from mine now.
The smell of her, metal and dust, not rosemary, not soap, fills my lungs. She lifts her hand. Her palm hovers near my cheek, close enough that the air itself remembers the warmth of touch. I did love you, she says softly, in my way. Enough to wish you never opened the door. Enough to wish you'd chosen me over it.
Enough to wish you were still mine. Her hand rests against my cheek at last. Cold. Not skin, not flesh.
A mask of warmth painted with ash.
Tears burn my eyes.
For a moment, for a lie, I let myself lean into her hand. For a moment I pretend. Then she leans close, lips at my ear. Whisper softer than dust settling. Sleep now, James. The house needs silence again. Her words sink into my ear like nails into wood. My knees buckle. The flashlight slips from my grip and clatters against the floor, its beams spinning wild across the walls, slicing over pale faces, burned photos, grey eyes. Each turn of the beam makes them look alive for a fraction, then dead again, then alive. The figures surround me. Their shadows overlap until they are one body, one silence. My lungs convulse, pulling air that tastes like rust and old fire. My hands claw at the wall, but the wall offers nothing back. Lily, I gasp. One last time.
Please, but her eyes aren't lilies anymore. They are only glass.
And her lips don't move again. The flashlight sputters, flickers, dies. The basement light, once unscrewed, once forgotten, goes dark. The last thing I hear is the drag, long, patient, certain. Then nothing, only silence.